So on this episode of Perspective, I want to give my take on women's intuition. What motivated me to share my perspective was a Facebook post that I shared. The original post read, "So y'all baby daddies didn't show signs of deadbeatism before you got pregnant?" The question was essentially asking whether or not women saw any signs in these men that they would not be responsible fathers before they got pregnant. So women's intuition, is it real? Is it fake? How valuable is it? Does society attempt to diminish it? Give me your thoughts and perspective in the comments. If you like the video or dislike the video, be sure to hit that like or dislike button. And as always, do subscribe. Without anything further, let's get into it. Now, women's intuition. As usual, I'm going to give the definition of this particular expression before I get into my thoughts. The definition of women's intuition seems pretty simple. The especially strong intuitive abilities commonly found in women. That's what the free dictionary online says in regards to the idiom known as women's intuition. UrbanDictionary.com says, something that every woman has, where you just know. Whether it's that your lover is cheating on you or you get uneasy vibes from a coworker, it's that gut feeling telling you that something is wrong. It may come in the form of a dream, deja vu, a funny feeling, all three, or something else. Never doubt this feeling. Ever. Now, those are pretty basic, but I came across a few different articles online, and the one I want to really use for my take is from the website executivematchmakers.com. The science behind women's intuition. I'm going to read this in its entirety while I give my take in between certain segments of this article. All right, let's get into it. The science behind women's intuition. In honor of International Women's Day, we're going to take a look into the science of an age-old phenomenon, women's intuition. Even the CIA knows women make better spies. Okay, ladies, now let's get in formation. The British Journal of Psychology defined intuition as what happens when the brain draws on past experiences and external cues to make a decision, but it happens so fast that the reaction is at an unconscious level. Another definition is our brain's ability to draw on internal and external cues while making rapid, in-the-moment decisions. Often occurring subconsciously, intuition relies on our brain's ability to instantaneously evaluate the situation and make a decision based on gut instincts. Judith Orloff, medical doctor, is the assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA and the author of Guide to Intuitive Healing: 5 Steps to Physical, Emotional, and Sexual Wellness. She said the following: just like the brain, there are neurotransmitters in the gut that can respond to environmental stimuli and emotions in the now. It's not just about past experiences. When those neurotransmitters fire, you may feel the sensation of butterflies or uneasiness in your stomach. Researchers theorize that gut instinct plays a large role in intuition by sending signals to your brain. I teach my patients to always listen to their gut, that sixth sense that's telling you something might not be right, particularly if you're sensing danger. If you listen to it and you're wrong, you've lost nothing. Perhaps you took a longer route home or you ducked into a store until the feeling passed. If you don't listen to it and you're right, things can turn out very badly. More often than not, your gut is right, so listen up. It's always better to be safe than sorry. I've always said that at the very least, a woman should at least ask questions when that feeling comes about. I've been on the receiving end of a woman's intuition. Not for anything criminal, but my ex would have dreams, and I'd be lying to say that if she felt some way about something, that it wasn't directly related to something I shouldn't have been doing or something that I shouldn't have even been considering. But let's get back to the article. The article further reads that science suggests women's intuition is a product of evolution. Females with a strong ability to understand and predict the needs of their offspring and mates thrive over females with inferior senses. Obviously, it's not all about catching a man in a lie or saving themselves from harm. It also benefits their loved ones. Our wives, mothers, sisters, daughters, women friends, their intuition can actually keep us out of situations and circumstances that are less ideal for ourselves. If you, and I'm speaking to men, If you have never had a woman read somebody, if a woman has never expressed that something was off to them about a person or a situation, if they've never told you to keep an eye on something or someone, but they couldn't quite explain it, if you have never been on the receiving end on this sort of guidance, then that's unfortunate for you, and you might need to calibrate your instincts as a man to surround yourself with the right type of women. Let's get back to this article. The article makes mention of how previous generations were often expected to be seen but not heard. Because of this, they developed a deep sense of observation by becoming hypersensitive to the feelings and nonverbal cues of others. To be seen and not heard. Ooh, Lord, shut your mother. But seriously, when individuals are doing more receiving than broadcasting, or when there's more talking than listening, you literally can't take in as much as you would if you were doing more observing. Former prisoners speak on this all the time. The lack of outside stimulation coupled with isolation forces their senses to be that much more attuned to their environment. Not just their hearing, but their gut feelings. They talk about a feeling in the air when something drastic is about to occur. Perhaps, and this is just a big old maybe based on what I've heard and read, is it possible that women today run their damn mouths too much to peep what's really going on in front of their faces? Back to the article. Women may exhibit more intuition, empathy, collaboration, self-control, and appropriate concern because of increased blood flow to the brain. Or as Dr. Daniel Amen, founder of the Amen Clinics, put it, the female brain is wired for leadership. Perhaps they should have been listening to us all along. We are also better at showing our emotions through facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language, whereas men are better at hiding their emotions and maintaining a poker face, but often we're still able to decode your tells. Research on nonverbal communication shows women are better at reading facial expressions and emotions. As a result, we are more likely to pick up on the subconscious cues of others. The University of Cambridge conducted an experiment by showing people pictures of eyes. The subjects were then asked to conclude the person's mood based on the appearance of the eyes in the photo. Unsurprisingly, the ladies dominated. This says to me that when women are tethered to their intuition, that it's hard for anybody, especially men, to get too much over on them. It's all in the eyes, sis. These studies further solidify that women have what it takes to protect themselves from bullshit. So when they say they didn't see anything, myself and many others aren't giving them the benefit of the doubt. Let's get back to this article. The article concludes that when comparing MRI scans of brain activity, the female brain reveals an increased number of neural connections. This makes it more efficient and helps with interpreting one's social surroundings. On the other hand, the male brain is neurologically wired to be more logical, making it more effective at linking perception with action. This helps men be more intuitive. You guys also have better spatial intelligence, so stop making us navigate. Well, that all makes sense, because y'all can't drive worth a damn! History and science both agree women's intuition is more than just a myth. Listen to that little voice in your head. Trust your gut. It might just save you a lot of heartbreak. That was a beautiful close. Listen to that little voice inside your head. Like my boy Darth Sidious said,
I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head.
Seriously though, trust your gut. Just like the article said, it might just save you a lot of heartbreak. Now, can we get back to that Facebook post I shared? I did not author it, but I did use it to instigate a conversation. So y'all's baby daddies didn't show any signs of deadbeatism before you got pregnant. Y'all didn't have any sort of gut instincts about that man that could have saved you from the heartbreak of not having a responsible father to your children. Shout out to all the women that were 100% accountable. Many of them did indeed own the fact that they overlooked obvious red flags for a myriad of reasons: sexual attraction, emotional connection, youth, whatever the reasons were, they owned them. I show grace to people in general that made questionable choices before the age of 25. And why age 25? Because the brain isn't fully developed. It's not mature enough for anybody to consistently be the best at reasoning. To further support that notion, I'm going to read the transcript from an episode of NPR called Welcome to Your Child's Brain: How the Mind Grows from Conception to College.
I'm Tony Cox, and this is Tell Me More from NPR News. Michelle Martin is away. We'd like to spend this part of the program talking about the passage from childhood to adulthood and how that may be tougher for one distinct group of young people. Most of the privileges and responsibilities of adulthood are legally granted by the age of 18. That's when you can vote, enlist in the military, move out on your own. But is that the true age of maturity? A growing body of science says no. That critical parts of the brain involved in decision-making are not fully developed until years later at age 25 or so. In a moment, we'll hear about how child advocates are hoping to use this research to change the laws about their foster care. But first, to learn more about adolescent brain development and maturity, we are joined now by neuroscientist Sandra Ament. She is the co-author of the book Welcome to Your Child's Brain: How the Mind Grows from Conception to College. Sandra, welcome to the program. It's nice to have you.
It's nice to be here.
Is this idea that the brains of 18-year-olds aren't fully developed a matter of settled science?
Yes, the car rental companies got to it first, but neuroscientists have caught up, and brain scans show clearly that the brain is not fully finished developing until about age 25.
To not be too clinical in the spin that we put on this, what parts of the brain are we talking about, and what changes happen between the ages of 18 and, let's say, 25?
So the changes that happen between 18 and 25 are a continuation of the process that starts around puberty. And 18-year-olds are about halfway through that process. Their prefrontal cortex is not yet fully developed. That's the part of the brain that helps you to inhibit impulses and to plan and organize your behavior to reach a goal. And the other part of the brain that is different in adolescence is that the brain's reward system becomes highly active right around the time of puberty and then gradually goes back to an adult level, which it reaches around age 25. And that makes adolescents and young adults more interested in entering uncertain situations to seek out and try to find whether there might be a possibility of gaining something from those situations.
Now, the conversation was a bit longer than that, but that pretty much summed up the point I was trying to make about the brain before the age of 25. I've mentioned this in several spaces where there are discussions about the decisions people make, and I usually give grace to those younger than 25. We all often say, if I knew then what I knew now, and we regularly realize how our thinking has changed from one age to the next. But you grown-ass women out here, y'all that are making barely legal mistakes in your late 20s and beyond, I'm not trying to hear nothing about, oh, he was a narcissist, Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde, a wolf in sheep clothing, blah, blah. Nope. Y'all give men too much credit. 92% of men ain't narcissists and master manipulators. And I know good and well all of y'all ain't falling for the manipulations of the 8% that are. Y'all saw them red flags and ignored them because you were more enticed by something else, or you were making too much noise and couldn't pick up on the signs. Nature and evolution gifted y'all with the means by which to avoid the trap door. I've always thought that women's intuition was a real thing. I've been on the receiving end of it for my benefit as well as my self-inflicted detriment. From a selfish standpoint, it's definitely valuable to me to benefit from the intuition of a woman in my life, but it has to be more valuable to women as a collective to be dialed in and responding to their own intuition. So if you had a fully developed brain and still didn't peep the potential deadbeat in your baby's daddy, that's on you. He's a walking colostomy bag for being a deadbeat. He's a walking colostomy bag for being a deadbeat. He is a walking colostomy bag for being a deadbeat. But you should have smelled, should have smelled that shit. And I know what y'all gonna say. Why don't y'all get on men and they tell them they need to be better men? Y'all friends that are dead, bitch, guys. We don't associate with them. What we do is deal with the up and coming young ones that have a chance to be better. That's what we do. Okay? Now, I know it hurts when you know you knew and still made the wrong choice. That same little voice that was telling you he's not the one is the same little voice saying, I told your dumb ass. And when people ask these questions on social media, some of y'all get in y'all's feelings. That's what it is. And that's all I got, folks. Until next time.